Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. Please visit our website, cscatlanta.org, for a complete list of live and recorded events. If this is your first time participating, we invite you to complete a new attendee form to stay connected to all future programs.
But welcome everyone. This is Emily Brown, the Program Director at Cancer Support Community Atlanta. Thank you all for joining us today for our cooking demo on immune boosting meals with Ashley Van Cise. We do this program every month. Our next one is going to be May 12th on cooking for gut health. So we hope that you will join us then again next month. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and let Ashley get started.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we are cooking with immune boosting foods. And so I want you to check out real quick, just when I was planning this class, I was thinking color, because color is one of the things that says this is healthy by having a variety of colors. So you'll see the greens, the oranges over on this side. Let me pull it over here real quick. I've got another recipe set up with, we've got purple. I even found these rainbow carrots, which come in purple, white, traditional orange, and yellow. So today's all about color for the immune system. And that's because when you have color in fruits and vegetables, you have different types of antioxidants, all of which help with the immune system. So I have the first recipe set up here. This is the roasted broccoli, sweet potato, and chickpea salad. This is a roasted vegetable dish that gets tossed with roasted chickpeas and then a hummus style dressing, which I've done in this class many of times, but I keep going back to it because it's so easy and it's so delicious. So right now I'm just getting the vegetables prepared to roast. On the sheet pan already, I have some cut up sweet potatoes, just diced up, and now I'm working on the red bell pepper. So these are all going to get tossed together on the pan with a little oil, salt, and pepper. I have our oven preheated to 400 degrees convection. I like to use the convection setting on the oven when I'm roasting. If you have that setting on your oven, because it's great for circulating that dry air, which helps with the browning of the vegetables, which is what you want for flavor in roasted vegetables. It's sort of that dry heat from the oven that browns the vegetable and gives it extra sweetness. So bell peppers getting chopped. These are just bite-sized pieces. What I'm doing is trying to, let me remove those seeds real quick. I'm trying to get the vegetables to be a similar size. So you can see, based on the sweet potato and the bell peppers, they're sort of in a bite-sized shape. And that's so that they roast all at the same rate. Okay. Red bell pepper. I also have some broccoli here. So I'm going to, this one has quite a long stem on it. I'm just going to cut that stem away. Now the stem is completely edible. Here, actually what we can do is we'll test it out today. A lot of people like to only eat the florets, but you can actually eat the skin. So I'm going to cut the florets into a bite-sized, just like the other vegetables on the pan. And then I'll go back and do the stems, a few of the stems, just to show you. The stems are great, especially if you have really, really fresh broccoli, which this definitely looks to be. And these stems are not too big either. See, when I pull them apart, they're not like a super thick stalk like that. So they will actually have a lot of flavor, and there's a lot of health in that. I wasn't planning on doing that, but hey, why not? I was going to say don't waste it, but we might as well try to develop a little flavor in the oven. Of course, I wish you guys were here to be able to taste that, but Even in a salad, if you wanted to do this raw, you can take a vegetable peeler and sort of like if it is a thicker stalk like this, you can take a vegetable peeler and just kind of peel off the outer really thick part. And then when you cut it thin, you actually have a vegetable that you can like dip and eat or put into a salad. It tastes great. So don't waste that part. You can put it in a soup. It's very crunchy. I like it. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm back to, I've got all the florets in there, and now we've got these stalks. So I'm not even gonna worry about peeling them for this because they're so small, but I'm just gonna chop them. Just that similar size to the other, those bite-sized vegetables that are already in there. Just kind of chunk them up.
For anyone asking, I did put the link for the recipe in the chat box, or you can also go to our website, cscatlanta.com, and it'll be under nutrition.
Cool. Okay. Also, in this recipe, I love giving you guys ideas for variations. So, variations on this recipe. Think about any vegetable that you like to roast, and go from there. So I'm thinking Brussels sprouts, regular white potatoes. There's different varieties of sweet potatoes, like Japanese sweet potato. There's butternut squash. I mean, there's tons of vegetables that are great for roasting. Let me set this aside for a second so you can see what I've got on the pan. So look, check out the color. We've got greens, reds, oranges. Okay, so now I'm just going to toss this with a little bit of oil, just so it doesn't burn. It kind of seals in that moisture. And then we've got, I forget where our ingredients are. Here we go. Salt and pepper back here. Grind of pepper and a little bit of salt. Let me grab a little, gonna find a little bowl for that. I wasn't prepared with my salt. Sorry, I'm back. I'm just gonna measure it on this spoon here. I don't want to dump it from the container without actually seeing it. I don't want to add too much. Okay. So the salt is going on, just sprinkle, and then I'm going to toss it all together. I like doing this on the pan because then I don't have to mess up the bowl to clean another bowl. So when you're visualizing this on your pan, you want to just make sure that when you're ready to spread out the vegetables, that they're all in one even layer. That's important for roasting. Because otherwise, if they're all mounded up like this, they're going to steam and they're not going to get as much browning. And that's where the flavor is in the browning. Okay, that's good enough. Spread it out. If you have like a lot of vegetables, I don't have enough to divide it into 2 pans, but you could definitely, if you're doubling the recipe or you have a giant sweet potato or something, you could definitely split this into 2 pans to roast into 2 pans. So this is going in the oven. And then also in the oven, the next thing is are the chickpeas actually. So this is just 1 can of chickpeas that have been rinsed and drained and dried. Actually, that is a step. Dried. That is important. I don't think I dried these well enough, so I'm going to go back and dry these. So I saw the water come out onto the tray, and I thought, okay, the thing that makes chickpeas really good when they're roasted is to really get them dry. So this is just a clean towel. Pour your chickpeas out after they've been rinsed, and then just dry them off. I've been at home, I've been trying to reduce the amount of paper that I throw away. I noticed I was using a ton of paper towels. that happens when you have young kids. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try to challenge myself to use fewer paper products. So napkins, paper towels, mostly paper towels. And so my mother-in-law actually gave me a ton of dish towels. And now that it took me a while to get used to it, but now I've been using dish towels in place of paper towels, like it's going out of style. And it works. It's great. It creates a little more laundry, but I wash towels once a week anyways. So anyways, okay, so chickpeas are here. We're going to add some curry powder. This is a mix of different spices, very fragrant, very flavorful, and it's got a couple of things in here like turmeric that is great for the immune system. So it's got cumin, coriander, fenugreek, ginger, turmeric, dill, black pepper, red pepper, cardamom, mace, and cloves. So a ton of flavor and also some of those immune boosting properties that you want. All right, so a little bit of that, shake it on top, just kind of eyeball it, shake it over the top, and then we're gonna do a little oil again. And then we're gonna do a little salt.
Ashley, we got a question in the chat box. Do you recommend using parchment paper when roasting veggies?
I mean, it's not necessary. I like it. I like parchment paper just because it makes the cleanup super easy. Gosh, that's all. So you don't have to use it, but it is kind of nice to use for easy cleanup. So I always use it, but if you don't have it, it's no big deal. You can also use aluminum foil if you're looking to have easy cleanup. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, I like the paper. I definitely like the paper better. Okay, so I'm going to toss this together. I've got everything I need: salt, curry, oil. Get the chickpeas really well coated. Again, trying to cut down on the dishes, so I'm just mixing it right on the pan. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop it in the oven with the other roasting vegetables. Okay, so a couple things on your recipe I'm noticing. There is dill in this recipe, fresh dill. And in your recipe, it says to put the dill, this is dill, it says to put the dill in with the roasted vegetables. And you can do that. You can absolutely do that. What I've found, though, is that dill is such a delicate herb that when it gets roasted, it kind of loses its flavor. So what I like to do instead is just to have it raw without being cooked and mix more of it into the dressing. So you're still getting a ton of the dill, fresh dill flavor, but you're not losing the flavor in the oven. Okay, so that's what I'm going to work on next. So let me I'm going to clean off this cutting board real quick in the trash, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we've got dill. This came in one of those little plastic packets, like in the grocery store aisle. But sometimes you can find it, especially during the summer. Sometimes you can actually find it in a big bunch. So, and if you buy a big bunch and you have extra leftover, dill is pretty easy just to air dry on the countertop or on a low temperature in the oven. And then you can keep it around dried in the pantry if you want. Has anyone ever tried to dry dill or any other type of like rosemary or?
No, but I need to start because I always have way too much. Can you do it with basil?
No, unfortunately, basil is like its own thing. Basil needs to be used, in my experience, basil needs to be used like right away. It definitely doesn't last.
And they always give you the huge thing at the grocery store that, unless you're making a pesto.
I know. Okay, so what I like to do with basil, if you get a giant bunch and you're not ready to use it right away, is I would go ahead and make the pesto or make the sauce, or even just blend it with a little lemon juice and then freeze it.
Okay.
A little lemon juice and oil, and then you can freeze it. And the freezer method I like is to put it into ice cube tray.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you have about a tablespoon or two of sauce or just basil flavor to freeze in small amounts.
Mm.
Okay, so I have an empty bowl. This is the dressing for the recipe. It is hummus, so just like a store-bought plain hummus. You may already have this in your refrigerator if you like to have hummus for a snack. And then, let me see what spoon I can find here. Here we go. So we're using about a third, it says so a third of a cup. So again, you just eyeball it because the measurement is not super important to be exact. Okay, and then, so if you do end up buying hummus in this size container is about 1 cup, I believe, if you look on the side. Yeah, so this is exactly 1 cup. So if you're doing 1/3 of a cup, just, eyeball it, divide your container into 3 sections, and then you've got a third there. Again, reducing the amount of dishes because you're not having to wash a 1/3 of a cup measuring utensil. Okay, so hummus, and then we have a little bit of garlic. I've already got the dill here, so I'm going to go ahead and chop that. So I sort of talked while I was doing it, but I just sort of removed the dill from the big stalk, like the thicker stalk. And then I'm just slicing it up. And I have a good bit here. I have let's see, your recipe says 2 teaspoons. I have way more than 2 teaspoons. I'm going to go with, this is probably, because I'm adding more of it, because we didn't add it to the roasted, this is at least a tablespoon, if not more. So we'll start with that, and then we might add more if we decide we want it extra dilly. So then we've got garlic, just 1 clove. Garlic is one of your immune boosting foods in this. It has something called allicin, which all onions and garlic, types of onions and types of garlics have. And that is your immune boosting property of the garlic. I think you have it listed here. Yeah, it's found in onions. It's cancer protective, but it's also protective against all sorts of other things like heart disease, cholesterol. So it's a super, super, super nice thing to always add. I'm just trying to chop it up fine because we're not cooking it in this, so I don't want anyone to chomp down on a big hunk of garlic, if at all possible to avoid. And then that way the flavor of the garlic goes out throughout the sauce. Okay, that looks pretty good. Go through one more time. And then the other ingredient we're adding is lemon. So fresh lemon. Get that squeezed in. I have a lemon, a citrus squeezer thing. I don't know what you call this, to help us get maximum juice out without getting the seeds. And I love that this is sort of like a unique sauce. You're taking the flavors of a regular hummus, which is delicious on its own, but you're adding the dill, which I've never seen dill hummus before, but dill goes really well with the flavors. It makes it feel like a summery springtime dish. Okay, so I see we have like about a tablespoon of lemon from this. We didn't get a whole lot from that lemon, but we'll go with it. We'll make it work. If that ends up happening and you don't have enough lemon juice and you want to add more lemon flavor, you can always go back and try to get some of that zest off of the outside of the lemon to make it work. Okay, so let me start mixing. One thing I need to add to this is a little bit of water to thin it out. And that's going to give us, you might be thinking that's strange to add because that's not going to give us any flavor, but there's so much flavor already in this that the water just helps to thin it to make it pourable for a dressing. So you don't need any special tool to mix this up because it just kind of comes together.
Ashley, another question. Does the minced dried garlic have the same benefit as fresh garlic?
It does not. You can definitely use, are you talking about, well, there's two different types of dried garlic that I've seen. One is a granulated garlic. It's like a more chunky. And then there's garlic powder. You're going to get, I mean, there's something in there to be said for sure. You're going to get something, but it's not going to be as potent as a raw garlic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the research on it, but I do know that the raw garlic, fresh, is the way to go. You're going to get the most flavor from that and also the most health benefit from that. Okay. So that is, and you can see, I'm just going to show you with the spoon here. It's a little thick, but it's way more pourable as a dressing than would be if it was just, and then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of salt just to kind of bring it together. A lot more pourable for a salad dressing or a vegetable dressing. So that's our super easy, and you can make this, you can make a bunch of this and just have it available to use on things. You can use it on salads, you can use it as a dip, you can use it really, you could even use it on grilled or baked chicken. Lots of options for that. And so let me check on these guys real quick. I didn't set a timer. No, they're not done yet. So I am gonna, let's see, I'll set our timer for 10 more minutes. Let's see, timer, 10, start, see if that works. I'm still new to this oven. Timer, there we go. Yeah, okay. Are there any questions on this recipe before I move on to the next one? We'll come back to it after the vegetables and the chickpeas finish roasting.
One question, how many days would you keep the hummus in the fridge?
Okay, this is a rule. This is sort of like a rule for anything that is perishable that you're cooking or prepping ahead, like a dressing. It's basically, it's like about 5 days to be on the safe side. You can keep it and still eat it somewhat safely up to 7 days. But once you get to that 5 to 7 range, if your immune system is compromised, you may not want to go there. So like they always say, like babies and you know, kids that are their immune system is still developing, or older adults who may have a compromised immune system, definitely stick within like the 4 to 5 day range. If you're willing to risk it, if you feel really healthy and your immune system is great, you can probably wing it up to 7 days. But after that, I try to use up all leftovers, start fresh. Like a good way to do it is like if you're grocery shopping once a week, before you grocery shop, or even a couple days ahead before you grocery shop, check to see what's been cooked that are sort of leftovers, like dressings and things like that in your refrigerator, and try to use them up and make it a goal to use them up before you go shopping. But if something, you know, doesn't get used up, you want to throw it away on the shopping day and just start fresh on the shopping day. That way you're not adding produce or, you know, fresh stuff into your refrigerator when you have spoiled things. So it's like a good clean out tip.
Yeah, good rule of thumb.
Okay, so let's move on to the next recipe on this side of the counter. We're working on the Asian chicken and cabbage salad. Let's see if we can get the camera over here. What do you think? Is that a good, you guys can see me okay? Oh, we're getting close now. Okay, cool. Oh, perfect. All right, so again, check out the colors. I'm just very happy with all the colors in this salad that we're about to make. So I'm going to start with the purple cabbage. You can obviously use green cabbage as well. And I'm going to start chopping things for our salad. So I've got a big bowl here. And I'm going to get another knife. Okay, so when you're working with a cabbage like this, first step, take off the stem where it was attached to the plant. And then you're also, when I washed it, I took off all those like really thick outer leaves that were sort of torn up. And then you'll have a nice flat spot there where you can just cut it right down the middle. And then you can turn it and do it again. So you're quartering it after the stem has been taken off. And then you have 4 pieces here. You might notice there's like a pretty big stem line through it. Actually, it didn't happen on these for some reason. I don't know, every plant is different, but for some reason there's no thick stem on that one. So I don't need to really trim that one, but this one has a giant, I don't know if you can see that white piece. That's just super thick and hard to chew. So I'm just gonna trim that off. Okay, and now you can either chop this by hand. Let me show you that in case you don't have any, if you don't want to use a special tool for this. Those are just some small pieces. Okay, so chopping by hand. I've got 1/4 here. And then I'm just gonna go down and thinly slice. So you're left with some pieces that sort of look like this. Okay, that's hand chopping. You can use a mandolin if you have one. This is not a traditional mandolin, but this is just sort of like a little slicer that we have in the kitchen here. I can show you what that looks like. So you're just kind of running it down. You can actually do this over the bowl. So you're just kind of running it down. And that seems to be a little faster for sure. Or if you have a food processor and it's just like doing slaw. If you've done slaw in the food processor, same idea. Just there's like an attachment that helps you shred. And so that it could be you could definitely do that too. And that would do it very fast. But if you're sticking with the theme of today's class of not doing a lot of dishes, then you may not want to wash a food processor after it's cut up the cabbage. So if you want to minimize dishes, you can just do it by hand. Okay, so that was 1/4. Cabbage can make a huge amount. It's amazing how many layers get so packed so tight in there. And then you end up like you have this small thing, but then you end up with like a ton after you've sliced it. So I'm just going to do a small salad today just to show you all the different things. But since we already have purple in here, so I'm going to do orange. Let's see, we'll do yellow and white carrot just to vary the color. I'm going to steal our peeler from over here. These rainbow carrots are getting more popular. You can find them in Trader Joe's, and I think definitely other grocery stores have them too. Just a fun way to do carrots. They look different, and I find it's interesting because they do have a little bit of a different flavor. Like I noticed that this is my garbage bowl here. I noticed that the white one actually tastes sort of like a parsnip. It's not a parsnip, but it has, I don't know if it's crossed with a parsnip to get it white or what's going on there, but it does sort of taste like a parsnip. So on cutting these, you can do a couple of different things. You can, if you've already used this, you can just quickly slice, and that gets like a really thin carrot round. don't know if you can see, but it's almost too thin in my opinion. It's like super small, but that's an option. Or you can, just do it by hand. You can also, if you have a cheese grater, you can run your carrot over this big side of the cheese grater. Unless your cheese grater is super sharp, I feel like that doesn't work quite as well. Like this one is it's not very sharp, so it works all right, but I'm going to stick with doing it by hand, and I'm just going to slice them. Or if you had, if you've already done your food processor with the cabbage, you can, do that too. It depends upon what you're going for here. Do you want this to look like a slaw? Then in that case, you could use the food processor and get it real uniform and shredded. Or do you want it to look more like a salad? It's totally up to you. I think we're going more for the salad look here because carrot rounds to me says salad. So that was the yellow and white carrot. What else do we have in the salad? We've got some scallions. So again, scallions have a little bit of that allicin, that same property that the garlic has. And these are green, also known as green onions. I'm just taking off the root. I'm peeling off any of these little pieces that are sort of wilted. That's the only one actually. These are really fresh. And then just thinly slice. I'm chopping 2 at a time. They're very easy if you have a sharp knife to get that. I'm using some of the green top as well. That also has a lot of flavor, even though it's a little thicker. Okay, so that is a green color that's going in. And an oniony taste. Okay, and then we also have a little bit of spinach. So this is just a packet, pre-washed baby spinach. Tons of good things about spinach. If you want to go simple and you're not, you don't need to learn all of the details about what these different fruits and vegetables do. You don't need to learn all of the things about these different fruits and vegetables. Like spinach has X, Y, and Z, and it does this, and carrots have carotenoids, and they do good for your eyes. All you need to do is think about variety of plants, and then go for color, like a variety of colors. So that's a simple way to think about it. All right, let me check my roasted. I think our timer stopped or didn't ring or something. Okay, those are looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and take those out. So turn off the oven. I'll pull them out and then we'll come back to them towards the end. Let me see how much time we have. Okay.
Hi, Ashley. This is Julie. I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
I had heard that cabbage is a great vegetable and has anti-cancer properties. My question is, if you, digestive-wise, if you can't eat raw cabbage, can you cook it a little bit and still maintain the nutrition in it?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. They say like it's most potent when it's raw, but there's a lot of different ways to cook cabbage. You can roast it. You can kind of chunk it up and roast it in the oven, just like I've roasted these other vegetables. So if you Google roasted cabbage, that's kind of like a new trendy way to eat cabbage. You can also like pan roast it. And then another option is just kind of like saute it as if it was like in a stir fry. Cabbage is very versatile. You just have to eat it in a slaw. When you're trying to incorporate variety, especially raw fruits and vegetables, if you're really trying to amp up the quantities, sometimes you get stomach like gas or pains or whatever. Yeah. It's just your body adjusting to new bacteria. It's almost as if you start training for a marathon. That first month is going to be, you're going to be extra tired, before you can get over that hump and you can start having regular training to where your body starts feeling good after running. It's the same thing with, at least in my experience, it's the same thing with fruits and vegetables. You start by just adding a little bit. Your stomach is made up of all different kinds of bacteria. Well, you need certain kinds of bacteria to break down the foods, and the more you eat them, the more your body produces. So you just kind of gradually amp up the variety or the different types, or, you know, like you said, cook it to be able to get some of the bacteria in there, but more gradually. And then you can start tolerating more and more and more and more. It does take time, though.
Yes.
Your body doesn't adjust overnight.
I have the same situation when I start taking my probiotics. I have to do it slowly.
Yeah. It's that new introduction of the new bacteria. It's getting in there, which is a good thing, but sometimes it creates gas, it creates cramp, it creates issues. But if you can get over that hump, like think of it like training, then hopefully you can start introducing more and more and more, because it's the gut. What we're learning now and where all the research is going is gut health is so important to things like the immune system, and preventing all diseases, no matter what it is. Your gut health, it kind of starts with the gut, is what they're sort of like where the research is going right now. I'm just going to let these cool here while we finish up the chicken salad, the Asian chicken salad. All right, so back over here. You guys are getting a lot of camera movement today. All right, so I think I've cut up mostly, I've got all the vegetables in there. Let's go. We've got an herb. We're using cilantro to stick with the Asian flavors. So move this over here a little bit. So we've got a little bit of cilantro that we're just gonna put right into the salad. And I'm not removing the stems on this. I've already washed it, but I'm just simply chopping it thinly. I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle it over top. That's just gonna get mixed into the salad with everything else. Okay, next we are going to make the dressing. So just a small bowl for that. I've got jalapeno, just to add a little bit of spice. Let's see, I'm not gonna make, okay, we might as well go for, I'll make the whole recipe, even though I don't have very many people here to taste it, but we'll just go for it so that I don't have leftover jalapeno. You can take the seeds out. I'm gonna take most of the seeds out so that we don't get too spicy, but if you want it to be extra spicy, you can eat those seeds, leave the rib, that like white part, and the seed is where the heat lives, most of the heat anyways, not all of it, but. So I'm just gonna shake that out so we don't kill ourselves here with the heat. And then I'm just going to hand chop this. Again, I don't want anyone to chomp down on a giant piece of jalapeno. So I'm gonna slice it pretty small. This is, the flavor of this dressing is Asian-ish. So spicy, a little spice, a little sweetness from honey. You kind of get all the flavors. So spicy, sweet, sour with the lime, salty with soy sauce. Although I have a secret ingredient today. I'm not using soy sauce. I am using something called coconut aminos. Has anybody ever used that before? It's an alternative to soy sauce for somebody who's trying to avoid soy for whatever reason. I get that sometimes in these classes. I've heard, well, I don't eat soy. What do I do for soy sauce? So today we're trying coconut aminos. I've actually never tried this before. So I bought it today just so we could see what we thought of it. Now that is a lot of jalapeno. I'm going to use my best judgment, not follow the recipe, and not add all of that, even though this is a pretty a lot of dressing. So I'm just going to add about half of it and see how it goes. Okay. All right. And then we have a little bit of olive oil going in. Your recipe says about 1/3 of a cup, so we'll go ahead and measure it just for fun. So when you're picking olive oil at the store, does anyone remember? I've talked about this a couple times in the class. I bet someone else could tell everybody because I feel like I say it so much. Does anyone remember what the things you're supposed to look for on the olive oil bottle? Everyone's being shy. A dark colored glass that keeps out the light. So that's going to maintain the quality and the health properties. And then you also look for extra virgin and first cold pressed. Those are the 3 things. Okay, now we've got lime juice. So let's see, about 1/4 of a cup of lime. Limes are, they do not, 9 times out of 10, they do not have any seeds. So they're easy just to squeeze right in the bowl. If they're super stubborn and the juice doesn't want to come out, you can use a fork in there to work around the center.
Ashley, does the aminos have less sodium in them?
Okay, let's check. That's a great question on the sodium. So I don't have the soy sauce here to compare, but 1 teaspoon, maybe somebody has it in the refrigerator at home. 1 teaspoon of the coconut aminos has 140 milligrams of sodium. That's not a lot comparatively. I don't know exactly. Maybe someone, if someone's close to their refrigerator, hop over and see what your soy sauce says and let us know. It doesn't sound like a lot though. All right, let's look at the ingredients now. I'm curious. This has coconut blossom nectar, water, apple cider vinegar, and salt. So it says it's a soy-free seasoning from organic coconut blossom nectar. It uses organic apple cider vinegar and Balinese, whatever that is, Balinese sea salt. So it's not fermented. It says no soy, not fermented, no alcohol, no dairy, no MSG, no artificial preservative. I don't know what it tastes like. We're about to, I wish you guys were here so you could taste it. Is anyone trying to avoid soy that wants to share? No? Okay. Well,
for me, having had breast cancer, they say to avoid soy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yep. All right. So maybe have you tried coconut aminos?
No. So this is something new that I didn't know about.
So this is an option because soy sauce is delicious, but it's hard to mimic that flavor for Asian recipes. Okay. So we've
130 milligrams of sodium, and that's light soy sauce.
$630.
630 milligrams. It looks like not milligrams, it's mg's.
Well, that is milligrams. I got 630, but that's per tablespoon. So that would be 210 per teaspoon.
Wow.
I think that's a lot.
This is a light soy sauce.
Okay, we can hear you again.
We're having a little bit of difficulty with the headset.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just finishing up. Sorry, we put that back on the charge. I don't know if it's, maybe the battery is run out. But I have finished up the dressing. I'm just mixing the ingredients here. So again, the ingredients were jalapeno, olive oil, lime juice, soy sauce, which we use coconut aminos, honey, ginger, and I need to add a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to taste it. See what it tastes like. Here we go. And the best way to taste a salad dressing is to actually taste it with this, like a leaf of lettuce or a piece of the salad, instead of just tasting it off the spoon. So what I'm going to do is grab a piece of cabbage here. This is just a giant leaf. Let's see what it tastes like. That's good. I don't taste it much heat. I'm gonna have a little bit more jalapeno. Actually, don't taste any heat. This could have been a very mild jalapeno. I'm going for it. All the rest of that goes in. I'm gonna add a little. Let me see what this tastes like on its own. Actually, I'm gonna see what the coconut aminos taste like. Just see what that is. Oh, it's really good. It kind of tastes like soy sauce. It's sweeter than soy sauce, which means you could probably cut down on the amount of honey in this recipe. I'm gonna add a little bit more, go for that 3 tablespoon measure. But it is, maybe that's why I don't taste much heat. It's kind of sweet. I like it. I do see the resemblance to soy sauce. It's not exactly, it's definitely not as salty, but it's more sweet. Interesting. Okay, so now we've got the dressing, we've got the vegetable part of the salad. I'm gonna go ahead and add the chicken. And now this was a chicken from a rotisserie chicken that I bought here. This one actually happened to be organic, which is kind of nice. I really like, so I like buying rotisserie chickens at Whole Foods because sometimes they have organic, and also you can buy them cold, which maybe you can do that at other stores too, but I think it's kind of nice because I went shopping at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to buy and that was yesterday, so I didn't want to buy a hot chicken. I mean, I can, but there's no need to buy a hot chicken at 8 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes they don't even have them available that early. And then say, put it in the refrigerator and save it for the next day. So what they do at Whole Foods, and I don't know, maybe they do this at other stores, is they roast the chicken and then they just cool it and put it, and so it's not getting overcooked because it's not sitting there waiting for someone to buy it. And then it's cold, and so you can just use it for like salads or whatever you feel you want to. Anyway, so I already shredded up some of this chicken. This is going into the salad. This makes it super easy. That was basically the whole chicken shredded up. The only thing I didn't shred was the legs and the wings, just because I ran out of time. But all those beautiful colors.
I want to ask her about substituting tofu for animal protein.
Change up the recipe.
Could you ask her for me, please?
Skip the chicken if you're not eating meat. If you want a protein source, edamame would be kind of cool in this because it's an Asian theme, although it does have soy. I mean, edamame is soybeans, so definitely go for that. But if you are eating soybeans are the way to go because they're not process at all. So that's it.
Wants to know about substituting tofu or?
Oh yeah, substituting tofu. So if you were going to do tofu in this salad, what you could do is make a little extra dressing, marinate your tofu in this first for several hours overnight, and maybe rinse your tofu or put it in a pan, and then toss that in. I like it. Another idea is you could add grains, so you could add quinoa or rice into this as well to make it a grain bowl, like a grain bowl type style thing. Another thing we're adding to this for crunch, your recipe lists cashews or peanuts. I didn't, for some reason the store didn't have cashews, which is what I was looking for. So I have just pumpkin seeds. These are just raw pumpkin seeds. You're just looking for, obviously the health properties are nice for this, but just the crunch of this is kind of nice to have in the salad. So a little bit of pumpkin seeds sprinkled on top or mixed throughout is nice. And I love the way that purple cabbage looks in there. That looks beautiful. All right, let me hop over here, back over to our other roasted vegetable dish. And I'm gonna plate that, show you what that could look like. Okay, so make some space. Here's a serving, just a white serving dish. Take your roasted vegetables. This is the nice, okay, you get to see the parchment paper in action here. And how nice and easy it is to use as your sort of your plating tool without an easy transfer without spilling it, or you poke to at least. Okay, so that's the roasted vegetables. Then we're going to top it with the roasted chickpeas. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle those right down the center. And then you've got the dressing. So remember, this was our hummus dill lemon dressing. I'm just going to kind of drizzle it on top. Let's make it super good flavor. I feel like this could be, this could be a dish on its own, or you could serve this with some kind of grain, like a rice, or you could serve it as a side dish for like roasted salmon or some kind of fish or even chicken. So it's sort of like, I'm thinking like a side salad, or I feel like it could be the main dish, especially if you're serving, like a vegetarian crowd would totally get this dish as like the main meal. Okay, you can also serve more dressing on the side if you want. So that is, you guys see that? That's the roasted vegetable dish. This is the salad. So this is the chicken in there with all that cabbage and spinach, carrots, and pumpkin seeds. Awesome. Let's see, we have a little bit more time. What questions or thoughts do you have on this?
Everything looks delicious.
Thank you guys all for coming. Hopefully I've inspired you to, number one, add more color to your cooking. Number two, maybe add a new vegetable. Get that vegetable variety in there. Whether it's a new color, like a new color of cabbage or a new color of carrot, or even just chopping up the stems of your broccoli. So hopefully I've inspired you to do a few new things in the kitchen. Okay, one question if you're still out there and you want to listen from, okay, so what spices are good for the immune system? Well, we talked about turmeric. That is a huge one. So whether you're using turmeric in the spice blend of curry powder or whether you're just using it on its own, I would say that is the number one. If you were to focus on anything, would be to add turmeric
to your dishes. And it doesn't have a strong, if you're not using it in curry powder, if you're just using it plain, it doesn't have a strong flavor. So you can sneak it into things, like if you have a small amount, like you can put it in a smoothie, you can put it in oatmeal, you can put it in rice, in the water of the rice while it's cooking. You can make a drink called like a golden milk if you want to go fancy. Google golden milk with turmeric in it. You'll see a recipe for that if you want, like it's kind of like a hot beverage. So like we added it to the chickpeas, so you could add it to any roasted vegetable. You could sneak it into your salad dressing. So there's a lot of ways to add it without people really knowing it's there. And you'll get a lot of immune system support with just turmeric. That's the first one that comes to mind. All right, guys, any lingering questions? Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ashley. Just a reminder, everybody, that our next nutrition seminar or cooking demo will be on May 12th, and that'll be cooking for gut health. So go to our website, cscatlanta.org, if you want to register for that. We're also going to have a nutrition seminar next Tuesday, and that is on nutrition and your immune system. So our registered dietitian with Northside Hospital Cancer Institute, Kristen Kukulowski, will be talking about your immune system as well and how it affects your nutrition. So go to our website, cscatlanta.org, for more information on that, and we hope to see you then. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.